How does God fit into the universe? It's a question that has echoed across the halls of philosophy for thousands of years. How do we square the circle of divine goodness with the brutal, sometimes cruel, always messy reality around us? In the Western philosophical tradition, the problem of evil was really brought to a head by the ancient Greek philosopher Epicurus. One of the founders of Stoicism, Epicurus lived in the early 3rd century BC. He's probably best known today for his definition of happiness. He said it was the absence of strife, of pain, of trouble in your soul. Now, if you've watched our other videos, you may know that the pursuit of pleasure and the avoidance of pain are central to Epicurus's philosophy. But while he clearly thought avoiding pain was important, he also had something to say about how much pain there is in the world. In a letter addressed to his student, Meneceus, Epicurus says this: "Tell me, is God willing to abolish evils, but does not abolish them? Or is he unable? If willing but not abolishing them, then he is not good. Unable but willing, then he is not all-powerful. And if he is able and willing, why do the evils persist?" This is the famous problem of evil, and it's one of the biggest challenges in the philosophy of religion. It's not just an atheist challenge. Many religious philosophers grapple with the same question. The idea is this: if God is all-powerful, all-knowing, and all-good, why does evil exist? And the implication, if evil exists, is God either not all-powerful, not all-good, or not all-knowing. Augustine of Hippo, one of the most important Christian theologians in history, attempted to answer Epicurus's argument with a simple redefinition. Evil isn't a thing in itself, he argued, but only the absence of good, much like darkness isn't a thing, but only the absence of light. It's a clever argument, and one that helped shape Christian theology for centuries. But it didn't fully address the question of suffering, did it? What about unjustified pain, unprovoked cruelty, senseless death? Are they merely the absence of something positive? What about the innocent babies born into war, famine, poverty, disease? They aren't evil, but they aren't exactly blessed with the presence of good either. Augustine had an answer for this. He believed humans were created with free will, and because of that, they could choose to turn away from God, from good, and when they did, evil entered the world. This is also true for individuals and societies. We aren't evil ourselves, but we can do evil things, and that is where evil enters the world. But this explanation doesn't sit easily either, does it? You see, if God made free beings, he knew what would happen. So was he being deliberately vague when he created humanity? Was he aware of the evil to come and indifferent to it? Does that sound very good to you? Or was he simply too weak to stop it? Again, does that sound almighty? Either way, it seems God isn't quite as good or as powerful as he's made out to be. Enter Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz, a German philosopher and mathematician. His solution to the problem of evil is even more intriguing. He claimed our world is actually the best of all possible worlds. In his essay, Theodicy, he argues that the world as we know it is the optimal world. All the evil, all the misery is necessary for the perfection of the whole. In fact, he claims that evil is actually good. It's just that we don't understand it yet. He writes, "This is the best of all possible worlds. Wise and good, he made it all the way it ought to be, and thus nothing could be added or removed with a view to improving it, except only that evil should not be admitted into it." In other words, this is the perfect world because everything in it is working together towards the greatest good. That includes evil. It sounds far-fetched, but Leibniz wasn't done. He continued, "God chose to leave the created beings in this state of dependence upon him, and thus to deprive them of some measure of happiness which might have been produced by the laws of nature alone. He did this not out of injustice, but out of pure goodness, in order that these beings, through their actions and their merit, might attain a higher and better state. Thus, this world is rightly constituted. No one can therefore say that anything would have been gained by adding anything to it, or taken away by removing anything from it except sin and its consequences. But these are inseparable from the nature of free agents, and consequently could not be removed without diminishing the perfection of the whole." All right, take a breath. Did that help? Probably not. But let's be fair here. Leibniz wasn't writing a feel-good self-help book. He was a brilliant mathematician trying to solve the problem of evil. And he came up with an interesting theory. He said that we can't really know what's best, but God does. He said that maybe there are other worlds that are better than ours, but we can't know because we're limited. We're stuck here in this world, and we can't understand the greater plan. Maybe the way to respond to the problem of evil isn't to try to solve it, but to accept it. But here's where it gets more complicated. Imagine that Leibniz was right. Imagine that everything is working towards the greatest good, that there are no unnecessary agonies, no pointless deaths, no cruel jokes. Is that any better? Because here's another question. If everything happens for a reason, if everything contributes to the greater good, is that any less painful? Does it make the injustice any less jarring, or the cruelty any less disturbing? Here's what I mean. When you walk into a burning building to save a cat and you get injured, you might say, well, it was worth it. You might think about how your pain helped a cat, how your scar tells the story of your heroism. But what if the fire was started on purpose by the owner who wanted the insurance money? What if the cat belonged to a serial killer? Suddenly your heroism seems less heroic, your pain less valuable. Pain for pain's sake doesn't make sense. But pain that's given meaning, that's a different story. And it seems to me that the same is true of suffering. Sometimes it's easy to see the lesson, the strength you gain from hardship, the empathy you develop for others. But what about suffering that seems random, meaningless, pointless? Well, here's one way to deal with that. Some people would argue that God doesn't need a reason to do anything. He's God. He doesn't need to explain himself to us. But you know what? We're not really looking for a reason. We're looking for meaning. We want to know that we matter. We want to know that we're loved. We want to know that we're cherished. That's why we ask the question, why does God allow this? It's not a philosophical question. It's a prayer. It's a plea for connection. It's a cry for hope. Now, that doesn't mean everyone should go around answering why all the time. Sometimes silence is golden. Sometimes the best response to the problem of evil is not an explanation, but a hug, a helping hand, a moment of peace. Sometimes the best answer is to stop asking why and start living how. And it might be easy to dismiss this as naive, overly simplistic, but is it really? After all, the problem of evil isn't just a philosophical problem. It's a spiritual one. It's a human one. And it touches every single person alive. And if we're honest, most of us don't want a perfect explanation. We want to feel connected, cared for, loved. And those feelings are powerful motivators. They inspire us to act, to change the world, to make it a better place, to be a better person. So maybe the real answer isn't to solve the problem of evil, but to rise above it, to face it, to push back against it, to stand up for what's right, for what's good, for what's beautiful. Maybe the answer is in the struggle, in the effort, in the striving to make the world a better place. Yes, there is suffering. Yes, there is evil. But there is also good. There is kindness. There is bravery. There is love. And that, at least, is something to hold on to. So what do you think? Is the problem of evil unsolvable? Or is the solution staring us in the face? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. As always, thanks for watching, and see you next time.